Hey, so today I wanted to show you some tips to make your face look a little bit happier, a little bit more like approachable. Those of us with RBF? Hi kitty. What are you doing? Boo! Say something. You still have 45 minutes until lunchtime. I have some like structural tips for you to make your face look a little bit more happy, like you're not just like so angry. And hopefully they're not like ridiculously obvious. Some of you, if you've been following my channel for a really long time, you might know them because I do them. But yeah, let's just start. So the first one is going to be your use of highlighter. You've probably seen a lot of people doing sort of this like facelift kind of deal. It's sort of along those lines. So I'm going to be using, I recently picked this up. It's the Giorgio Armani concealer. I'm wearing the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation and like, I'm kind of obsessed with it. So anyway, let me zoom you in a bit. So my problem, I think, with my face and looking like kind of unapproachable is I obviously have dark circles. I have relatively deep set eyes, which can kind of just make me look a little bit more angry and just like not well rested and just kind of like, leave me alone. You know what I mean? I did do some color correcting and I put a little bit of like a concealer that matches my skin tone, relatively, the NYX Bear With Me concealer in, Jesus, what shade is this? Light, but something that you can do is use a slightly lighter concealer. Also, just keep in mind, if you do too light, you might end up with like some kind of a gray cast. You might need to do some like color correcting, blah, blah, blah. We're not getting into that in this video, okay? But something that you can do is use a concealer that's like maybe a shade or two lighter, which is what I'm gonna be doing with this Giorgio Armani concealer. And just, hey, what are you doing? That bitch was just ripping at my backdrop. Bro, you have 45 minutes until lunchtime. I'm gonna need you to go take a nap. You know what happens when you do that? You have to come say hi to the people. No, don't run away. You get over here. Stop running. Why are you running? Boo! Why are you running? Stop. What do you think is gonna happen? This little goof. You're a little goof. To you too. This little goof was just like, she likes to claw and rip it and bite at fabric. She was just doing that to my backdrop. Unacceptable. No treats for you. Anyway, what was I talking about? So I'm going to use this concealer in the shade 3, and I'm going to start off by brightening in here because this area, I have like deep set eyes, and this area can get pretty dark. It just kind of makes me look a little bit more angry and less approachable. Since I'm here, I'm gonna be doing my like usual highlighting as well. Something else that you can do is sometimes your smile lines, this area around your nose can get dark, and it kind of creates this like line in here, which you can't really see with this like fantastic lighting that I have going on. But if you have darkness, my sunscreen's pilling. If you have darkness around this area, it can kind of just like drag your face down, and it just makes you look a little bit like, you know what I mean? Like Robert De Niro. No offense, Bob. So you can do just a little bit of brightening right there. You don't need a ton of product, but just something like a little bit of highlighting right in there to kind of like plump up that area. And then the next thing that you can do, if your eyes feel a little bit dark on the outer corners, which mine pretty much always do, is just take a little bit of that concealer up. So you can kind of give your eye a little bit of a lift, and it also just kind of like helps to conceal that darkness. So we're gonna start off by blending that out, and I'm using the top of my LC Cosmetics Velvet Sponge. It's got like a nice point. It makes it a lot easier to get all up in here. You could also use a brush. It's probably better. So for my smile line, I'm just filling in this area where my face naturally just kind of like goes in. And then right here, I'm gonna bring it to the corner of my eye. Right in here, and then just kind of like blend it up and out. You can take it up and out as much as you want, but mostly trying to conceal this darkness. Probably should have done this side without doing the other one first. But you can already see in here, how much, boo, you can already see how much brighter it looks in here. If you're not like me and you don't have like a lot of creasing underneath your eyes, you can take your concealer all the way up and that's really gonna help like brighten, but I have creases there and so I just don't do that. But just brightening up this area already makes my eyes look like much more wide and awake. So that's kind of like the first step that I would do structurally. Okay, next up is blush. So if you're like me and you have high cheekbones and you don't have a lot of volume in this area, then like I prefer placing my blush much higher up on my cheekbone. But that can sometimes make my angles look just like a little bit sharp. So if you want to like make your face look a little bit happier, a little bit more youthful, something that you can do is start there and then bring it just underneath your eye. So I'm gonna be using the Refi, I don't know, cream blush in the shade Rose. Ugh, Jesus. And then this is the new Rare Beauty, I think it's new. Actually, I don't know. It's new to me. Cream blush brush. So I'm gonna pick up some of this and I'm going to start on the top of my cheekbone because I really like that is just like where the volume of my cheek is. But then I'm gonna slowly just kind of like bring it under my eye and a little bit onto the cheekbone. And I'm not gonna take it in too far because I don't wanna drag my face down because it's gonna do the opposite of what we're trying to accomplish here. But I do want to kind of spread that blush to make my face just look like a little bit more awake. And then if you feel like you went in with too much or if you need to blend, go back in with your brush or your sponge that you applied your foundation with, or just a clean brush and tap around the edges. And it just kind of like accentuates those cheeks, it sort of just gives your face a smile, you know? And if the majority of the volume of your face or of your cheeks is like right in the center, then feel free to just like take it up a little bit higher, but onto the apples of your cheeks to give your face a little bit of a lift. Okay, next up, eyebrows. So if your brows are just kind of like straight, or maybe they are a point down, like mine for the most part grow downward, something that you want to do is lift them. It gives your eyes a little bit more, it makes your eyes look more open, it makes your face look like more awake. So my tried and true, I love using a soap. I use the Dr. Bronner's bar of soap. I will just get this wet with a little bit of water or some kind of a setting mist or whatever you have on hand. Take a spoolie, rub it around in the soap until you have kind of like a paste, like that, okay? Then I'm just going to brush through my brows. Now what I don't wanna do is push my inner brow hairs in too far. Like if I do this, it's gonna make my face look a lot more angry. Now, I fucking love an angry brow, but that's not what I'm gonna do today. So I'm going to brush them up and out, keeping them kind of soft. And if you want, you can go against the grain so you're getting that product in those hairs. And then you kind of want to just like brush them up and outward. Just versus this side, it just makes my eyes look more like open and awake and kind of just softer, you know? Like this brow, because it's down low, it's kind of like the focus is in here, it looks a little bit more angry. Whatever brow product you use, whether it's a pen, a pencil, a powder, whatever. Today I think I'm gonna use a powder. You want to focus filling the outer part of your brow. You do not want to, once again, make the inner part of your brow harsh because it's gonna bring your eyebrows in, it's gonna make your face look angry. Let's just dry these brows up real quick. That sounds really weird. Now I'm gonna use a powder and I'm gonna use my e.l.f. flat, what is this called? Flat eyeliner brush? e.l.f. And I'm gonna use my Anastasia brow powder wherever it might be. Oh, here it is. Underneath my bronzer. So I'm gonna use the Anastasia brow powder duo in ash brown. And I basically just like go between them. Tap it off. Just like lightly fill starting on the end. And I'm just kind of like patting and brushing, I guess, I don't want to make them too dark or too harsh. I want them to be nice and soft. And then whatever's left over, I'm just going to kind of like pat it in so that there's like a cohesive color throughout. But like I said, I want the focus to be filling the outer part. And just keep in mind that the more angled you make your brows, sometimes it can make them look a little bit more harsh. So if you want to just make them look a little softer, then keeping them a little more straight is the way to go. Boo! That's so rude. Okay, my favorite trick is to create a little bit more of a smile to your face. So if you look at my face, I have these kind of like lines here that sort of like point downward. Maybe I can zoom in even more. See that? These lines here, they just kind of like point down. Now, my face doesn't necessarily look like angry, but when it's resting, it doesn't look happy. So something that you can do if you feel like your mouth turns downward is to use your contour. So like I said, if you watch a lot of my videos, then you may have noticed this. I do this pretty often, but you want to use your you want to use your contour, whether it's a powder or a cream. I'm going to use the Fenty Matchstick in Amber, and then you can draw it on, but if you want more precision, then you're going to want to use like a smaller brush. I'm going to use just this little guy, which is, it's just a little shader brush. So something along these lines, something that like will be nice and soft so you can blend, but will also be precise. So I'm going to pick up some product on the tip of the brush. And what I'm going to do is create kind of like a fake smile. So rather than this shape, I'm going to kind of like accentuate a smile up. So I'm starting on the outer edge and I'm going to like, we're basically making a Joker smile, okay? Don't worry, we're going to blend it. Just a little French mustache. Joker smile, French mustache, whatever you prefer. See how we like created a fake smile? Looks so stupid. Now, you can use that same brush, but whatever's gonna blend well, basically. I'm going to use the Sigma brush. This is the detail blending brush. And I'm just going to pat this out. So I wanna make sure that I'm keeping it lifted, so moving up this way. And all you're doing is just blending and softening that color. So can you see how that kind of gives my face like a little bit of a lift up here? Something else that you can do is take a little bit of your concealer to enhance that. And since I get like a little bit of darkness down here, you can take a little bit of that concealer and just following this edge, kind of enhance that lift. It's going to be like a subtle little difference, but it really does make a difference. I don't typically use the concealer to intensify it. I kind of just like using the contour as if my face is doing that, you know? Because when I smile, you kind of see all of these like shadows and definition in here. Okay, and then there are obvious ones like mascara and like all that kind of stuff, but it's whatever. Like that's just obvious stuff, you know what I mean? Making your eyes look more open and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and then my mic died and I had absolutely no idea. So I just kept on talking and then I realized it and it was horrible. So anyway, I hope this video helped in some way. Just kind of like trying to help you make your face look a little bit more approachable. Only if you feel like there are certain parts of your face or like features that you have that just like make you look a little bit like unapproachable or angry. Yeah, other than that, who gives a fuck? Do your makeup the way you want, and who cares if people think you look angry. All right guys, thanks for watching, and let me know what you want to see next.